welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Pearl, and this is where we talk about everything to do with health, wellness, and mindset to help you improve your lives, feel better, and thrive. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist. So if you've ever wondered what the difference is and what that looks like, well, this video is just for you. I'm going to be talking about the difference between dietitian and nutritionist, my journey to becoming a dietitian, why I let go of my license, and why I transitioned to calling myself a nutritionist instead. Stay tuned, this is going to be a good one. What is the difference between a dietitian and nutritionist? I get asked this question a lot, and these terms are often used interchangeably. To keep it simple, the difference between the two is that a dietitian is a highly regulated profession, and dietitians have to go through quite a bit of school, intensive training, and take an exam before they can call themselves a dietitian. The other thing about dietitians is that now many dietitians are actually covered by your MSP, your medical service plan, or your healthcare plan. Dietitian services are covered and can be covered for you to claim. So in that way, those dietitian services don't come directly out of your pocket, which can be a great benefit to many people who cannot afford dietitian services. On the other hand, the term nutritionist isn't as highly regulated. There are no standards to the term, so technically anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. If someone read an article about nutrition and learned a little bit, technically they could call themselves a nutritionist. There is not a standardized process in becoming a nutritionist. So with this case, it's less regulated and anyone can call themselves one. And the experience of nutritionists can vary highly between having a month's worth of schooling or actually doing a whole degree. One other thing I want to mention is that registered holistic nutritionists are actually registered, and that is a little more regulated. But if you hear the term nutritionist, I encourage you all to inquire a little bit more and see what type of background they have. It does not mean that they're inadequate. It just might mean that you might have to do a little more digging to really find out what type of education they have. The terms nutritionist and dietitian, registered dietitian, registered holistic nutritionist, these can vary from province to province. I encourage you all to look into this if you're thinking of working with one. In some provinces and in the States, nutritionists are regulated and do have to register with the college. And is a protected title, which means a protected title means that only the people that have done the qualifications to use that title are able to use it. But in BC, where I live, the only protected titles are registered dietitian and registered holistic nutritionist. With that being said, what does it look like to become a dietitian? Well, my journey to becoming a dietitian started a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, when I was in grade 12 trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with my life. I honestly had no clue up until grade 12. I always wanted to be a professional dancer, in all honesty, but that got shut down many times. But I still love to dance, and it's still a dream of mine. You never know, anything can happen. So my backup was, well, if I can't do dance, then I really love eating food, and I love food. Let me see what I can try and do in the area of food. Initially, I wanted to be a chef, actually, and I went to a short weekend course at the Art Institute of Vancouver, and it was a pastry chef course. During that weekend, I asked the chef what it was like to be a chef and what he thought about it, and from what I heard from him, it wasn't really aligning with what I wanted to do. I wanted to help more people, work one-on-one, and really educate people about being healthy and leading a healthy life. After that, I went home and Googled a bunch of things. Like I Googled food-related industry, food jobs, nutrition jobs. I Googled everything I could to figure out what type of careers there were out there for people who really had a passion for food. And the word dietitian came up, and I was like, huh? I've never heard of this in my life. I'm like, what's a dietitian? I did lots of research, reached out to tons of dietitians, had phone calls, emailed them back and forth, really looked into this field to make sure if it was something that I wanted to do. And from what I read, what I heard from others, it really seemed like this was something that really aligned with me. After that, I decided that being a dietitian was the career for me, and I went off with it. Fast forward through all the ups and downs, all the stuff, I finally got to UBC. UBC is the only school in BC that is accredited for dietetics. Dietetics is just a fancy word of saying the study of human nutrition and the regulation of diet. So being a dietitian just means you're an expert in human nutrition and how to regulate diets. Getting into the program was not easy at all. The process to get into the dietetics program at UBC You have to have at least 2 years of prerequisites under your belt. You have to write a cover letter, go through an interview process, and all the shebang. I just want to hop in here and just say that this process when I applied like 4 or 5 years ago probably looks very, very different now. So I encourage you all, if you're interested in being a dietitian, to look into what school and what the requirements are as of right now, because that could have changed. And of course, my experience is individual and won't look the same for everyone. Just want to pop that in here. And now we can get back to the video. So after that, I had to apply 3 times to get into the dietetics program. And usually they only allow you to apply twice. But I asked for special permission because I knew this is what I wanted to do. I really, really wanted to be a dietitian. So I was like, oh my God, please let me in. And on my 3rd try, they let me in, which was amazing. I was so happy. Finally got into the program, and I also got accepted to the AP program, which just means I got to advance and skip a year, because usually when you get into a dietetics program, you have to take 2 years, but I had all my courses. Because of the delay and how many times I got rejected, I was able to do all my courses. So when I got into the program, I only had a handful of courses left to take. And that was great. And after that year, we do 10 months of internship year. And our internships are placed at a health authority, working at hospital, working at residential care sites, and in the various fields within dietetics, because dietetics is very diverse and there are lots of options in this career. And that's why I really was drawn to it, because I just didn't have to work at a hospital. I knew I could work in other various areas. This 10 months of internship is quite intense. It was a very steep learning curve, and man, was I challenged. But you know what? We learn from all our challenges, and that's what makes me the person I am today. And I learned so much from that. So thank you to my previous preceptors. If any of you ever watched this video, I appreciate everything. So preceptor is just a name for dietitians that look over the work of the student dietitians and make sure everything's okay. Preceptors teach the dietetic students everything about the field, and we're open to ask questions. It's like having a mentor in the field that you can really look up to and learn from. So after 10 months of internship, and I forgot to mention that this is an unpaid internship. So for 10 months, you're working about 35 hours a week. In the last few months of the 10-month internship, you apply for jobs, get interviews, and you go through that process. So I got hired right after my internship at Fraser Health Authority, and I worked at Burnaby Hospital for a number of months. After we complete our internship though, we're only still considered a temporary dietitian. There's a national exam that we all have to take. This national exam occurs twice a year. I took my national exam in November. And once you take that exam, you have to wait a couple months for your results, if you passed or not, and it's a pass or fail. You don't get a mark. In January, I found out that I was approved and I could finally call myself a fully registered dietitian. So basically, that is the process of my journey to becoming a dietitian. Of course, there's lots of ups and downs and details throughout that, and I struggled very hard in some areas. With any career choice, I believe there's always a very steep learning curve at the beginning, but if you know it's something you want to do deep down, you're gonna do it, you're gonna put in the work, you're gonna get it done, because that's something that you feel really passionate about. So for any of you trying to pursue any career right now or thinking of different options for yourself, go after what you really think is your passion. Keep going at it, ask for help, get the advice you need. Be persistent, be dedicated, and keep trucking along, because you can get there. You might not get there as fast as you want to, but you can get there. That was my journey to becoming a dietitian. Now, I am no longer a dietitian. I'm going to repeat that again. I am no longer a registered dietitian. This is because of various reasons, and I will just touch on a couple. I am now calling myself a nutritionist, and I have a health and wellness coaching business where I coach people to improve their health and well-being. The reason I chose to let go of my license as a dietitian is very complex. Since dietitians are registered with the College of Dietitians for that respective province, they have to follow a series of guidelines, regulations, standards, and we have to abide and report back to our college. There are certain things that dietitians can and cannot do depending on the area of work that they're in, also depending on the province. This can vary in many areas. Being a dietitian in BC, some of the regulations that I had to abide by didn't quite align with my values, and looking at the long-term goals of my career and my business, I know that I want to have a little bit more freedom in my business and how I work with people and with my clients. Some of my principles and beliefs about health and wellness and how I wanted to practice and coach my clients was not quite aligned with how the regulatory bodies wanted us to do. Some other things came up throughout the process. It really made me think deeply about what I want to do, my core values as a human, and how I want to help and serve others. This being said, I decided it was best for me to let go of my dietitian license and just call myself a nutritionist. This doesn't mean anything about dietitians. It is an amazing practice. I've met some amazing people along the way. They're so knowledgeable and they do some amazing things for the healthcare system and within the community. But for me personally, it just was not how I thought it would be. Now being a nutritionist, I still have all the knowledge that I gained as a dietitian and the practices and the expertise from my 6 years of schooling, and I'm so grateful for that. That being said, I'm able to bring that into my practice as a nutritionist, as a health and wellness coach. I believe this further enables me and empowers me to really help the people I'm working with to reach their health and wellness goals. Those are the main differences between a dietitian and a nutritionist. I shared with you a little bit about my journey and how I got to where I am today. Of course, with not as much detail, but I hope I gave you enough to really give you a good idea. I hope you found that helpful and interesting. And I hope this gave you a better understanding of the words that are thrown around in the healthcare field or when you're going through your own health journey. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. And next week, I'm going to be talking about some of the most common mistakes that I see when people are trying to lose weight. Stay tuned for that video. Check out my other 2 videos if you haven't yet. I love to talk about anything to do with health, wellness, and mindset to help you improve your life. Until next week, hope you're staying healthy, doing well, and thriving. Thanks, guys.